I'm here with Paula Nelson-Hart, who is the creative director of Purple Cow, and she has a really cool idea for making an ancestor book, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's so fun to take these old pictures and give them some context.
And I love the context you've added is on the back, right?
Right. I found some old photos of my grandmother and grandfather, and so I copied down what was written actually on the back of the photo, typed it out, and made these little cards that now can sit on my coffee table. My kids can flip through them, and it's hysterical.
Well, I love that they're laminated too, so that all those dirty, grubby little hands and all that kind of stuff, you know, you don't even worry about it, and it protects everything.
Yeah, when my husband's eating Cheetos, there's not a problem at all. Absolutely.
Okay, how do we get started?
Okay, so I just took some little cards, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna round the corners, because I love those round corners, and punch a hole in one corner.
I always think that the rounded corners give you a real finished edge. It just makes the project look more finished.
It just has a nice frame. It makes it nice. All right, so I'm gonna have you go ahead and start rounding corners.
I'm gonna do that.
Fantastic. And while you're doing that, I'm gonna take some of these magic cards that have already been rounded, and I'm going to add a little bit of ink around the edge because, again, I just like to be able to frame the project. And that was the other fun thing about this project is that, I mean, these people I hardly knew, so there really couldn't be too many mistakes as I go through and find who's who and what's what.
It's true, and I always think, you know, history is an invention anyway in some ways. It's really what we've recorded and what we've remembered. So whoever it was who was the original scrapbooker who put those details in,
you're just
on the back, helping it out there.
I'm just copying. And
so you've added some dimension by inking the edges, which is a great touch. What are you going to do next?
Okay, so I like to work in threes. Okay. So I've got a cute card printed on both sides. I'm going to grab a photo, and I have printed them out. I didn't want to use original photos, obviously, because I'm using a heat laminator. I wouldn't want to destroy something that's vintage. So I just printed these out on my computer, and I'm going to add a cute little piece of ephemera under here, just some little die cut that
There's so many cool things on the market now. You can either go to a vintage store and you can buy stuff. I love shopping at like flea markets and junk shops, or they have great products now all the time that you can buy for that look if you don't have a junk shop near you.
Exactly, exactly. And there's some fun things on the internet that you can print that are
what a great idea. I didn't even think about that.
That are royalty free, so you can use them. All right, and I don't mind if this is kind of sticking out over the edges, because I like the idea of the cards having
I noticed that,
dimension.
and I was wondering here with the little bits that are sticking out how that was going to work, but it's all going to be fine is what you're telling me.
It's all going to be fine.
I'm going to trust you.
Okay, good, because it is going to be fine. So here we've got this one, and I've got some little words here for the back.
Okay.
So,
and again, this is something you could stamp it, you could print it out on your computer. There's so many different ways to get that information down on there.
Yep. Yeah, and it could be, I did some where I just printed out actually what I found on the internet.
Oh, that's
doing
cool.
that, you know, researching who was who. And so I didn't even have to retype it. I just printed it right out and cut it out.
You know what occurs to me is you could have taken the original handwriting too, scanned it in, and printed that right out.
Oh, yeah, what a great way to preserve things.
So what are you going to do once you have the card?
Okay, so now I've got my little card with my information.
And I noticed you didn't put a ton of adhesive on there.
No, because when I send this through the laminator, it's going to seal all the edges. So I don't have to have it glued really super tight.
Okay. So you have your laminated pocket, which I notice is kind of cloudy.
Yeah, now I'm going to stick it in our laminator, which has been heating up already. I'm sticking a piece of paper in there first, just to give, because this pocket isn't all the way full, I don't want those front edges to curl under the roller.
So the paper just helps everything run through smoothly, and yet it doesn't affect the laminating.
Right, right, and it can just be any old piece of
Now, how do you determine what size of these laminating pockets you're going to put something in? Is it always bigger? Is it?
You always want it to be about a quarter inch to a half inch bigger than whatever you're laminating, so that there's room around the edge for it to seal.
Oh, okay.
And especially if you're doing something like this, we've got about 3 layers of kind of cardstock here, so we want to make sure.
I'm not that familiar with laminating. It's not actually attaching to this part, it's only sealing on the edge is what you're saying.
No, it actually does. It will attach to the layers of the paper. So if we were to open this right now and we have a good seal, it would tear it. We wouldn't be able to. So it's now on there really good.
Well, that of course makes so much sense because that's what allows you to then cut away the extra lamination,
which we are going to do with the coolest tool. This is just a hot, like a wood burning craft iron with a little fine tip, and we're just going to go around.
Oh,
instead
that's so
of having
cool.
to cut this
And you are,
out.
of course, working on a glass mat. And if people don't have a glass mat, they can use just a regular piece of glass as long as they're careful. I notice the edges are rounded here, and it's all very easy.
It makes it nice. At home, I've actually used some glass shelves, so all kinds of things work.
Well, I want to show some of the other examples that you brought because they're so fabulous here. I know that this is a sort of a larger one. If you need something, this would be great. You were mentioning maybe for a parent or an older adult, you know, something larger that they could see. Again, here's one with modern photos, which I think is really cool. There's information about each child on the back here.
Yeah, it's a really fun way to create a mini scrapbook. Without a lot of the work of a mini scrapbook. I mean, these are quick and easy. You can do a few at a time.
I think this is just such a cool idea. I love it, and I know that I suddenly want to laminate absolutely everything.
Sometimes we call it the glaminator.
Ah, that's perfect. Thank you, Paula. This was great.